Having a baby made me so much more, I want to say, close with my mom and dad.
Ozzy Osbourne's daughter reveals the truth about his passing. The whispers had been circling for days, but no one expected this. In a heartbreaking and deeply personal announcement that sent shockwaves through the music world, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter has come forward with chilling details surrounding the final chapter of the legendary rocker's life. The revelation didn't just rattle the fans, it left even the most hardened industry insiders speechless. According to the Osbourne family's inner circle, what the world thought it knew about Ozzy's final moments was just the surface of something much deeper, far more disturbing, and potentially explosive for the legacy he left behind. Fans who had clung to public updates, many of which had portrayed a peaceful decline, were not ready for what his daughter had to say, and neither were the city officials now suddenly involved. It wasn't what it seemed, she confessed in a now viral recorded message. There were things we weren't allowed to talk about, not until now. As news spread, crowds began forming near the Osbourne family estate, candles lit and tributes placed quietly along the stone gate. The rock community, from aging bikers to Gen Z metalheads, came together not just in mourning, but in disbelief, seeking answers for the truth that had been buried behind platinum records and carefully crafted PR updates. What she revealed next shook the foundation of everything fans believed about the Prince of Darkness. Behind closed doors, the final months, the Osbourne household, long considered a fortress of eccentricity and rock star excess, had grown unrecognizably quiet in the weeks leading to the tragedy. But according to insiders, this silence wasn't just a symptom of age or fading fame, it was carefully orchestrated. Ozzy's daughter revealed that, for months, a mysterious group of private consultants, medical professionals, and spiritual advisors had been cycling in and out of the home.
I'm a daddy's girl. I love my dad.
Kelly Osbourne breaking her silence after the death of Dad Ozzy.
Not registered doctors, not priests. They weren't there to heal him, she said with trembling frustration. They were there to prepare him, while family members were kept in the loop with surface-level explanations. Those closest to Ozzy reportedly noticed his demeanor shift into a fog of paranoia and confusion. He started talking about visions, one longtime assistant, who asked not to be named, shared. He said he saw people in the walls, that his guitars whispered things to him at night. It was dismissed as hallucinations, side effects. But in hindsight, the family believes something else was happening, something darker. The hidden room, what was found after his death. As the fans mourned and tributes poured in from fellow rock icons, the real story began to unfold quietly behind police tape and locked doors. After the Osbournes granted limited access to local authorities, an unexpected discovery inside the mansion's West Wing triggered what one city official described as a full-scale forensic sweep. We were told the room had been sealed for years, said one member of the investigative team, but there was fresh dust, recently disturbed wiring, strange insulation that didn't match the rest of the house. Inside, officers found walls lined with bizarre clippings, hand-scribbled notes, and what appeared to be pages torn from old medical journals and occult books. A rusted iron cabinet held dozens of tiny labeled vials, substances still undergoing testing. But perhaps most unsettling was the centerpiece, a leather-bound ledger filled with Ozzy's handwriting and someone else's. "I can't go into detail," the officer added.
Good morning.
Is that me? That's
Dada. Say good morning.
Good morning.
It comes just days after Kelly shared this sweet video of her best friend looking in good spirits, sitting at the breakfast table with his daughter and grandson, Sydney.
But the contents of that journal alone warranted federal attention. This is no longer just a wellness case. It's an active investigation, a daughter's regret, and the fan base that's demanding answers. While the authorities continue their work, the public has turned its focus to Ozzy's daughter, who now seems to carry the weight of responsibility for unveiling a narrative the world wasn't prepared for. "We should have questioned it sooner," she admitted during a tearful livestream. "But you have to understand, people protected him too well, even from us." The fans, who once rallied around Ozzy's rebellious spirit, now find themselves spiraling through a mix of grief, suspicion, and outrage. Online forums are erupting with theories, hashtags like "what really happened to Ozzy" trending globally within hours. Even rock legends like Slash and Rob Halford have issued cryptic statements, hinting at unsettling truths they're not yet allowed to share. But one witness, a groundskeeper who worked quietly on the Osbourne estate for over a decade, offered this sobering quote, "I never thought I'd say this, but I think the Prince of Darkness might have been scared of something worse than death, whatever that room was. He didn't build it for music, industry shockwaves, and a label under fire. In a twist that has added fuel to the fire, Osbourne's longtime label, which had exclusive rights to several unreleased tracks and personal recordings, is now under intense scrutiny. Multiple former employees have come forward, alleging that the label may have withheld critical information about Ozzy's health and mental state to preserve business interests and avoid public panic. They knew, claimed one ex-marketing manager. They knew something was off, but all they cared about was making sure the next reissue didn't tank. They kept everything quiet. An internal memo leaked just hours after the daughter's statement seemed to confirm that upper management was aware of erratic behavior months prior.
He does this little song and this little dance about how excited he is, and he is so excited that it's a boy.
The document, titled Legacy Protection Protocol, outlined strategies for minimizing backlash from public or family disclosures. Public outcry mounts as legal action looms. The Osbourne family's legal team has remained tight-lipped, but sources close to the estate say a massive lawsuit is being prepared, one that could target both the label and the group of consultants who spent weeks inside the home under the guise of alternative care. Fans aren't waiting. They've taken matters into their own hands, organizing protests outside the record label's headquarters and demanding transparency. Petition sites have racked up tens of thousands of signatures calling for the release of Ozzy's final writings, unreleased recordings, and most importantly, security footage from the west wing of the mansion. Whatever he was trying to say, whatever was in that room, it deserves to be heard, said a fan outside the estate gates. Ozzy gave his whole life to us. We need to make sure his voice is louder now than ever before. An unfinished symphony, what's still to come. As speculation intensifies, so does the demand for the truth. The remaining members of Black Sabbath have reportedly scheduled a private meeting with the Osbourne family to share insights from past incidents, according to someone close to the band. And now that authorities have officially secured the hidden room and its contents, analysts expect an avalanche of new revelations in the coming weeks, from strange health treatments to possibly even recordings Ozzy made in his final hours. For fans, it's a heartbreaking turn in a legendary career. But for those closest to him, it's something far more sinister, a reckoning with forces that may have isolated and tormented a man long hailed as the unshakable icon of heavy metal. He didn't die like a legend, one eyewitness murmured, staring at the flickering candles outside the gates. He died like a prisoner of something we still don't understand. In memory, in mystery. As the world waits for the next piece of truth to emerge, one thing is certain: Ozzy Osbourne's legacy isn't fading into silence. It's screaming louder than ever, not through a microphone, but through the questions he left behind. And now, the world is listening. What the medical records didn't say. As the dust settles over the shocking revelations from the Osbourne estate, sources now confirm that the original medical documents provided to the public may have been selectively edited or outright redacted.
While Kelly is the first Osbourne to address her father's death, the family did release a statement Tuesday saying the rock legend passed away surrounded by his loved ones.
Multiple individuals with knowledge of Ozzy's healthcare regime, including one former home nurse who has since left the country, allege that not only were certain treatments undocumented, but critical signs of deterioration were downplayed in official reports. The nurse, speaking under anonymity, stated, "His vitals were crashing and stabilizing within hours. It didn't make sense. We weren't allowed to question it. We were told to keep him sedated and just follow orders." The fans, who once accepted vague updates about health complications, are now learning that those complications may have included forced isolation, experimental drugs, and unexplained neurological episodes. Ozzy reportedly had entire stretches of time where he no longer recognized family members, something never disclosed until now. When confronted, the Osbourne family spokesperson would not confirm the nurse's story, but admitted there were treatments happening that we weren't fully aware of at the time. We trusted professionals, and that trust may have been misplaced. The ledger, a window into his mind. Among the most disturbing discoveries in the sealed-off room was a journal believed to have been written by Ozzy in his final months, a leather-bound book filled with erratic entries, strange symbols, and personal reflections that hint at a deeper fear. Portions of the journal have now been leaked by an anonymous source inside the investigation, and the contents are as chilling as they are confusing. One entry reads, "They said I'd feel better after the injection. I just feel hollow, like I'm watching myself from across the room." Another reads, "The guitars don't play anymore. They scream. I don't sleep. I don't eat. They keep asking me the same questions. Why won't they let me leave this room? Experts in cognitive neurology, now independently reviewing the pages, are torn. Some believe they indicate signs of acute dementia, while others say the writings suggest forced sedation or even psychological manipulation. What's even more unsettling is that some of the entries appear to have been corrected, crossed out, and rewritten not in Ozzy's handwriting, but someone else's. A private funeral, with government eyes watching. While fans assumed that Ozzy's farewell would be a public spectacle fit for a rock legend, the actual memorial was private, guarded, and according to one insider, monitored by more than just paparazzi. Government vehicles were reportedly spotted around the perimeter of the service, with agents quietly attending in civilian clothing. A drone, captured on a neighbor's cell phone footage, hovered briefly over the estate before quickly disappearing behind the trees. It was like a classified operation, said one eyewitness who was stationed near the hillside overlooking the property. There were men in suits checking everyone's badges. It didn't feel like a funeral. It felt like a transfer of secrets. That's because the sealed room wasn't the only area of concern. According to recent leaks, a hidden safe located in the estate's underground wine cellar was opened just hours before the funeral began. Its contents unknown. All security footage from that day missing. Sharon Osbourne breaks her silence. After days of silence, Sharon Osbourne has finally addressed the growing storm surrounding her husband's passing, but instead of offering clarity, her statement has only deepened the mystery. "We were told not to speak," she admitted. "They said it would ruin what he built, but what they really meant was that it would ruin them." When pressed on who they were, she refused to elaborate, simply stating, "People you don't say no to, people who don't show up in news headlines, but who write them." Sharon's comments have only fueled the speculation. Online sleuths are now digging into past Osbourne business dealings, royalty agreements, and international partnerships, looking for any threads that could explain the sudden clampdown on information, and they may have found one. The final deal, a legacy tied up in silence. A contract filed several years ago between Osbourne's management team and a now defunct European media company included unusual clauses, ones that guaranteed creative rights, estate control, and even posthumous brand usage. But buried deep within the document was a paragraph labeled Continuity Clause. It stated that all assets, documents, and unapproved recordings not explicitly cleared by the board shall be withheld from public access indefinitely, unless deemed culturally non-disruptive. That phrase, culturally non-disruptive, has ignited a firestorm of debate. What content, fans ask, could possibly be so disruptive that it would warrant censorship from beyond the grave? The family won't say. The label refuses to comment, and the media company behind the contract, it no longer exists. It was dissolved 2 months before Ozzy passed. Fan protests turned into cultural movement. What began as a few dozen fans leaving tributes outside the estate has transformed into a growing movement demanding transparency. Rock radio stations across the country are dedicating entire hours to playing unreleased Osbourne demos, fan covers, and interview clips that challenge the official narrative. A viral campaign titled "Let Ozzy Speak" has swept across social media, urging music historians, journalists, and whistleblowers to come forward with anything they know. Former tour managers, stage technicians, even ex-bodyguards are now sharing cryptic details about those last few years, a period one former bandmate simply described as "when the curtains closed." "The world watched him sing about darkness for decades," one fan shouted during a live stream protest. "And now that the real darkness is here, they want us to pretend it's not." Even politicians have started weighing in, with a few cultural affairs officials calling for a public release of the room's contents under artistic preservation laws. But the family remains cautious. "We support the fans," Ozzy's daughter posted, "but some truths can't be unspoken once heard." And yet, one more tape remains. As the investigation drags forward and public pressure mounts, one final piece of evidence has come to light. A cassette tape, unlabeled and wrapped in cloth, was found tucked behind a false panel in the master bedroom's fireplace. Though it has not been officially released, a leak suggests that the tape may contain one of Ozzy's last vocal recordings, not of music, but of a message, a whisper, reportedly distorted, but still recognizable. This isn't the end. Don't believe what they show you. Whether this is real, a hoax, or something far more complicated, the very idea of such a message has thrown fuel on an already raging fire. And now, every fan, every city official, every media outlet is waiting for what comes next. To be continued. The room remains sealed. The journal remains in custody. And the truth, it may be louder than ever, but someone is still trying to muffle the final scream of the Prince of Darkness.